Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi all. Previously, allow me introduce myself. My name is Novia Fatmawati. I'm from Basic Education, Semarang State University. Okay, on the occasion, I will explain about my research. The title is Development of Learning Media Interactive Based PowerPoint on the dynamic of rotational motion and rigid body equilibrium. I'm writing this paper to fulfill the task of scientific communication. Okay, the part of paper I will discuss from introduction and then method, next result and discussion, and the last is conclusion. The first is introduction. On introduction, I will explain about learning media, interactive of learning media, and then problems on the dynamic of rotational motion and rigid body equilibrium, and then election interactive of learning media based PowerPoint software, and the last is the purpose of my research. Okay, the first is learning media. What is the learning media? Well, learning media have their respective strength and weakness, so that none of the learning media is best compared to other media. With that, as a teacher, we need to choose learning media that is in accordance with the characteristics of students as well as the subjects being studied. By Anita or Novanita on 2014. And then, what is interactive or learning media? Well, interactive learning media is a medium that is able to convey message between teachers and students. Well, in the interactive of learning media, student can active on the learning. Based observation journal related journal with this topic and result of interview with a student of senior high school, I find problems on material dynamic of rotational motion and rigid body equilibrium. There are the learning media used is monotonous, and then the law of interest student in learning, and then the formula is material too much, and the lack of explanation from teacher, and the last is low understanding of concept about a material. Based problem, so I choose to development interactive media based PowerPoint because this program also has facilities to create interactive learning media by include the text, sound, image, and even learning videos. Slide or page on PowerPoint can be specially designed, equipped with navigation button that will involve the user in the operation of the PowerPoint. In addition, this media can be used using either a PC or handphone, but it is recommended to use a PC. This is because if you use a handphone, there are several shortcomings. For example, the screen is too small. Some handphone might not be able to open directly. There are applications to open. And the last of the introduction is the purpose of research. Well, I developed the interactive learning media based on PowerPoint material on dynamic of rotational motion and rigid body equilibrium for senior high school class 11. That's the criteria feasible of use. The next is method. In the method, I will explain about the kind of my research. This is research and development. And then the step of research is ADDIE model. And the last is data analysis technique. The research and development. Research and development is research that is used to produce and test the effectiveness of certain product by Sugiono on 2016. The step of my research, I use ADDIE where there are 5 steps. The first is analysis, and then design, and then development, implementation, and the last is evaluation. At the analysis step, the researcher doing observation related journal with this topic and interview with a student of senior high school about the problems on material, dynamic of rotational motion and rigid body equilibrium. And then at the design, I made a storyboard as a initial learning media. And then at step development, I develop my learning media by complete the storyboard with material, text, video, and the example, and the last is quiz. There are capture about development my learning media. The first is cover of media, and then menu, guided, and the cover of teaching material, and then content of teaching material. The next is cover of video, the video of application material, explanation of material, simulation of material. I use a pet simulation, and then example, and quiz star view, and then cover of quiz 1, view quiz 1, and then cover of quiz 2, view of quiz 2, and the last is the closing the media by. Thank you. The next is determination of media agibility, where the percentage agibility by score of touch abstain divided by expected score multiplied by 100%. And then the table 3, the percentage scale according to Ari Kunto. There are 4 percentage of achievement from the not feasible until the feasible. The third of the part presentation is result and discussion. On the result and discussion, I will explain about media assessment data, and then analysis of data, and then discussion, and the last is the final of learning media. Okay, the media trial were conducted on 35 students majoring in physics, Semarang State University. The instrument provided via the Google Form link contains 23 questions that must be filled in. With 16 questions, it is an assessment in terms of the media, and 7 questions are an assessment of the content of material in the media, where respondents can fill in one of the answer choice in the form of a range of values, namely very good, good, bad, and very bad. And then media assessment data. There are two graphics about the assessment data. The first is the assessment data of aspect media, and the second is the assessment data of aspect material. Based two graphic, we know that the user think that the learning media is very good, or the score is 4. Okay, the next is result analysis. This is a table percentage of eligibility of learning media by user. The first is aspect of media. There are 16 aspects, from clarity of instruction for use, and the last is the easy to bring media. Based the table, we know that overall the user think that the aspect of media with the percentage more than 76%, and the percentage total and the criteria is 87.68, and the aspect media criteria is feasible. And then aspect of content, there are 7 points, from accuracy of the material until language use. As a aspect of media, on the aspect of content, we know that the user think the learning media of content is more than 76, so the percentage total and criteria on the aspect of content as big as 87.76, the criteria is feasible. So the average assessment of all aspects as big as 87.72, and the criteria is feasible. The next is discussion. Based on the result of the data analysis, we can know that every aspect that has a percentage above 76% is categorized as feasible, with an average percentage of feasibility for the media aspect of 87.68%, while the material aspect is 87.76%, so that the total percentage of media feasibility is 87.72%. With that, we can know that the media is in the proper category. And the last is the final product. The final product of this media after being revised is as follows. The first is the creation and presentation of PowerPoint-based interactive media as learning media is carried out using the Microsoft PowerPoint 2016 program, then saved in PPT slideshow format. The second is this learning media contains slide consisting of a 62 total slide with on-screen show says 4 divided 3, and then the initial display of the media containing the title of the material, and then the main menu display, which contains the part contained in the media consisting of interaction for use, learning material, learning video, sample question, and quizzes. And then the display of interaction containing interaction for using media. And then display of material containing starting from SK or KD and a description of the submaterial with picture. And then the display of sample question containing a collection of sample questions related to the material, and then display of learning videos hyperlink on Google Drive containing an audiovisual explanation of the material. And then the quiz display contain two kinds of quiz. The first is a quiz that contain a collection of questions related to the formula for the moment of inertia and the center of gravity of the object. And the second quiz contains questions related to the application of the material, and a profile view that contains the author profile, and the last one is thank you display. This is the final product about the learning media interactive based PPT on material dynamica of rotational motion and rigid body equilibrium. This is a display menu. There are guided materi, video learning, example, quizzes, and profile of the researcher. This is a display guided. I can back to home. This is a display a materi, and then a video learning. I hyperlink the video on YouTube. This is a Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dalam menyelesaikan masalah, sedangkan kompetisi tiap benda, dan yang terakhir yaitu menerapkan
sel pintu. Ini bertujuan untuk mengetahui momen gaya atau
Anda memahami gerak tanpa sin theta. Naik momen sama dengan dilihat arahnya ke bawah. 10 kg A Y sama dengan pengantar materi mengenai kesetimbangan benda tegar datar and bangun ruang dan berbentuk kurva, di mana kita ketahui kesetimbangan hari juga. This is display example about material. This is display quiz. There are two quiz. And the last is profile about researcher. The last is conclusion and suggestion. In the conclusion and suggestion, I will explain the conclusion and suggestion. The first is conclusion. The conclusion of this research is that interactive 4-point based learning media is feasible to use with a percentage of 87.72%. However, looking at the comments and suggestions given by user, it is better to revise them to fix the unsatisfactory aspect. And then the suggestion: developing interactive learning media using other programs with the same or different material in order to produce more varied and interesting learning media. In addition, continuing research can be carried out to determine the effectiveness of PowerPoint-based interactive learning media on student learning outcome in the material of dynamic of rotational motion and rigid body equilibrium in class 11 of senior high school. Okay, overall about my research paper. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.